Away, oh hey, away, oh hi, hey, oh. Away, oh hey, 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 away, oh hey, 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 away, oh hey, hey, away, oh hey, hey, away, oh hey.
Niin televisia kolibia maassa. Leewi Mik'maq. Kadwigia udan televisi eskik ogonawagi. Kadwad loini ge bedem ka walalio mui wadam. Si tantelia si delmio, tantel voldas walio, pegidano la tembetkiwa. Kino walsides mena adlegadim kru swadun. Kulaman maha kileiwawan pilwe kogomana apteejolti deeko kurene jujic tojua sadamoka kistloyana excuse me tantigi vullaasissa kisimappidaik egal mawaganud maadiiko madaha kiskuutel deedem niina kisaaluksiigo anki deedemuuga kemanki deedemu kisaaluksi naskukoikko luodawanna niina Eskasoniga waaje madaha nanega moiklus waan weeman telwanna munanin nai tleo right aktemetkina leewina bas nadir nanega moi kisi weewasi sitkinoa naskuganeno so sadmokla kisi weeman klus waan kiskuk tana amsedwen mabas nudmokul siksittal dan teujenu da abajaadneno takoya biduiginis kamijinaik megideed midisnek a kerkemmideed midisnek dan kistel maugoda dan kistel mauja alsod maadida dan kistel mau sespedeeltuhtida dan kistel maui abogona maruhtida nanega mo kisi abajaadu del deedem nin abajignadesno siitus nugul suagan teluagala naskugaik nisiedesno maugaik melgignadesno mada maugaik amit pajiksiduksidesno kadi giskuktan telasi koja aptietskin udan tlehsiejan naamase mujiksiduksin mada mo bugaluek kadi gismawidaiko akhaldu nokteech kluswaan tel deedem niin liuswaarasi deuna noktee kluswaan mavukajikla mavukaadi se melkikinajik akamit pajikseduadesno mutta pukol takoi kiskuun da anki deedemeneno magisia bajidauktan teloltimni pidvikiniskamijinakai kad melki puolno da kisku anki deedemenenoa talki siapa jatuh nu tante liisultim niin ei moki. Talki siapa jatuh nu dan kisku kum set koiwan eduapteto. Ma pas eduaptemo. Edu weuhto ta kisikin uudmasijuan. Ma dan spanki deedemu kisku. Dan tuju attukulin. Ma kis lion ja nivuhtu. Kesna sibu, kesna vahtu. Eli en nähdä, minus paran tämän nudaadekka kinamadnawi. Tuolla ginaamanneoi takoi nuda suadnenu. Minä me vuodnu vassultiiga. Uiakaadunno. Akat suadnu. Takoi kinu. Piduiginiskamijina kisin kadumuksiiga bunne. Nega wal weemiidijek, wal aluviidijek. Mutta neuta asideedemana appitjouduksin tämän teliisin. Amispa ibanemsidek negaju. Uennet niin. Tämmöinen voisi. Tallu voi jutet. Nannega mä voin klusuakan, tervein kisavitet pakaadu. Amispa maulukudiiku. Mau jabokona madultiiku. Mutta niin telne midua. Pukolkiga kigmana. Ko ei jiijina ahtigina minä. Pukolki kigmana. Amus panade mi seeg eldaatki. Koiga lugaan mesne miidit. Akkala bisa astameliidi stepkisi daadit. Vemikse gaarais. Tän telil nuis. Mutta el nuisin akal nuidaasin. Mana bas kisikin urmaasi mun nohteen naago kesä nohti ponqaq. Amis mana deesikiska kaweeman. Mutta ulla ksijidaan wajiaga kluswaanikto mimajikin. Pemia. So magismas qaaduun. Luena. Kaskim naamion higa ne jaarudes asia uotus magis laat mutta teesikiska kaweeman kejido medue mutta tan keduitil lugan kisbu medue galno kisueman takoy tan ta wonin kiltan telmiga mawin kesanan tan tel bilwin nuin. Mutta muikkanu kooja. Tän muikkanu lugaan tän kisluvattu, tän kispuhtail nuisidek. Kad niin telnemidu ulasis. Tebias. Mavaadu okkolus vaaniminal. Ahtelni muugi kaikki. Ikanos. Naginaamat nuo koomel. Amispa el nuisultiek. Mutta mul nuisultiek. Se kaadok läpis tanteloltiek. Musia wil nuisultiek. Kissia uemok el nuisim. El tantelil nuisi. Jona kitantelil nuido. Lidas wattas noa. Agla sieviisin. El nuisidik olaman. Nannega voi maulaasnuka maluenu. Amispa eskamina kisik poskaaduun kulusuaan. Amispa kiidel sabudaaduun kamlamonka. Tän linnut linssats. Olamana kissabin södämän nuihtu. Nä kistetä vuomuu kulusuaan weejitte kakrasieviktu. Olaman manduun. Aktiidydyk tän telapukua. Puolnudaa kiskuva maukuanninu. Mitä puolta koinudaa el lukasin. Teet pakaadasin. Apajaadasin. Kan mo jiksiduajik majuinu. Kan niin telui. Kisima vidaiku. Kisima vagnudumaiku. Kisima udlimu kabelnuul. Nannega munudaawa ne moi. Nannega moi waswaadwe kabaju. Waswaadwe tan tawinnig ninin. Nien na migama. Waswaadwe tan takhoi nien melkigina vaalinametta. Waswaadwe takhoi tan kisia julin settes. Takhoi agla seutu telimimka. Menan kamla mun sisabudaido. Migama viktu. Nannega moi telui niin. Kisimel koptemu. Nadelweni kisapa jiginatsuno. Menanike telbugu koya kisaaluksiik muolaamaruhtik. Muassa telu eedemaruhtik, muolaamaruhtik, mutta det niin leu ja kyllä det leuin. Tuo nuhtee idelli det högtekala ajikulohona högtekala. No neka moina, olisi kunjina melki kaadu. Tahoi kisi uevasik, hän tepki saaluksiik. Älä vuhtuk telvisit laan. Tämä on mun estemu tahoi laan, älä se yhdellä wedge. No laan uevasik, kisaaluksiik tepki soltiik. Tepkisi del soltiik. Tepki soltiik. Na seud loltiik neka moina. Seu äsideede muuga. Tepki saaluksinen no. Na kaakse kaado vaid. Tante loltiikus ne. Mutta tahoi niin kejidu. Na deese jiis pasak. Se on ek tuutsiidoga. Talkamiksid need miigama. Taliisid need miigama. Talgisejasid need miigama. Tuo mun sodamuun nuihtu. Onnet kiil. Nänega moi kejidu keskuukulus vaan. Akam sodamuun luoda meskei. Well, mun en arvum sekein. Mutta kii muk ladaan, mojikisi nuisi on. Kei nega moi mueminen nyt nega moi, tän liaskuvaadesna. Kei ueminen nega moi, tän kistelmylkikina vaasultisna. Tän kistelmavidaadusna. Tän kistelmau japokana maruhtidesna. Tän kistelmau sespedeltuhtisna. Tän kistelmau iksaltuhtisna. Olamana kinijanna, kujijina, pidui kujijina, negayo, negamok, kisi ilajuhtuvadesno. Tän telsiä vaata, tahoi niin eltohadmuksiagam. Sidai ula pidui niskamijina aika. Tahoi negamok vastabudari, tahoi nemiduudijek. Ja kiskuunien luannu kiskuunike. Apakonna muukin not hooltijik. Nimidno. Tän teuji kebmeek. Tän teuji nudaa. Abajaadneno. Tän teliisultiik. Mutta muemukah mabajaaduk. Talit piedes nunet. Telvoinin kisikässä pahtuoksides no. Kistoida himan alam. Muodo kolnona muon nuisi kaduan. Na negamoja sadmuk. Munin passak sadmuk. Tel teedem niina piduikin iskamijina. Abakona mulkada. Piduikin iskamijina. Ma pas muivaade miidiko. Iskamijina. Telvoinin ultaasultida. Sievaaduu. Tahoi negamok kisiattiginen miidijek. Tahoi negamok kissabudedaatki. Me kiigaju kelni miidijek. Tän tel miigamok. Nadeliaj, nado. We will. Since I am illiterate in my own language, and for whatever purpose or reason, if someone can send me that clip, you see, where we do it in Unama'ki, no one person can do it. So bunch will come together and they will transcribe it, or whatever you want to call it, clips, however you want it. But this actually will be translated, not literally translated, but translated as it was said. Because that's the thing that we have to be very, very careful when we translate something. You cannot literally translate. Because when you literally translate, what are you doing? You translate what you heard, not what he said.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's never the same.
That's right. So in order to maintain that integrity of it, you got to get a bunch of or men and women, or whoever. And if that is satisfactory with you, or whoever's under this initiative here,
Mm-hmm.
and if that's acceptable, I can easily say it in English. But you know, if we're going to use this as a tool, I think it'd be much more motivating, much more challenging, if someone is listening to that in Mik'maq and try to digest or capture what was said.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe somewhere on the side there'll be this translation.
Yeah. Yeah, there's like...
But if I do it on tape, we're lazy, you know.
Yeah.
I'm lazy anyway. I'll just look at the English version, and I wouldn't try to decipher or to understand what this word says. So I think as a motivating factor, I would like to suggest leave it at this format and have the translation aside somewhere in which it could be used to reinforce it or to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, we haven't even touched upon the other aspects of it, like treaties, responsibilities. Maybe next time, right? Because I believe at this juncture that to get us grounded again and use that grounding as a leverage to have ourselves not just recognized, but as well to be reckoned with. I think we have to use something in which hopefully will play out in our advantages. And that word would be Unama'ki, the treaties. I believe we should be very consistent and say, like, this is an unceded Mik'maq territory, and in conjunction with Wapna'kikewi'skwaq in this case here. We should be constantly using those words, because if you were to understand what that word implies, Unama'ki, you can clearly understand and see what was expected from these people that were welcomed here, and what they have to do of living up to the responsibilities of what they are agreeing, and that was for them to use the skills and knowledges that they have, in which they got from wherever they come from, and apply those knowledges and skills to help us, the Mik'maq people, to better encode and look after our natural world, because we all supposedly believe we solely depend upon her for our existence. So this is something that our forefathers, according to the scientific knowledge we have now, we can comfortably say within the last 18,000 years. We can go back to that far using this modern science. But I'm sure we have been here much longer. But the point here is that if our forefathers had somehow managed to coexist or to live with nature without any time compromise the ecological integrity of the area. And one way that was done was through the language. Words like Nedukulimk. Nedukulimk, of course, could be used to suggest or to say, you have not a right, but a gift to extract or to use anything from nature, providing you uphold the sacredness of that. So, for example, if you have to take life for your own well-being, you have to acknowledge the spirit of that, whether that's an animal, plant, or anything, because everything is alive in our understanding. It's alive, and it's both physical and spiritual. So if it's spiritual, then whether it's this grass here or this ant here or this moose, they have a spirit. And if you need something from that spirit, you have to acknowledge it. You have to express your thanksgiving, your appreciation for the spirit to giving up something from themselves, so for our own subsistence or for our own well-being. Now, so these are the conditions that were very much put forth to these people that came here many years ago. They want to live in this territory. And the only part that was captured in the English version was, these are peace and friendship treaties. But again, the translators of that day made sure that the translation would always go in the direction of the oppressor, of the government, who were government of the day. So in order for us to bring back the essence or the true spirit of what those agreements were, we have to hear them again from our own languages and use those as a leverage of putting the onus on the government to prove that they own this territory. To date, as you know, that has been used against us. And I would like to call that a burden of proof. Every time that we want to exert our sovereignty, we're going to be taken to court. And each time we're taken to court, we're diminishing our resources. We know we have a limited resources because we don't have no industries on our reserves, other than Millbrook and Memberton maybe. We don't have the financial security to constantly use the court systems to validate what we already know, that this is our territory, that we have not ceded any of the land. We have not given up any of our authority to anyone, because this is who we are. Now, again, to bring that back, they have to be said and shared from the language, because to date, it has taken 1968 Isaac case, Paul and Denny case, Silly Boy case, Simon case, and eventually Donald Marshall case, to somehow get the message across, or get that message resonated to the way it needs to be, to the government level, that in fact, that our so-called Untitled are just as valid today as they were when they were drafted in 1700s. But to prove the validation of that, we had to spend millions of dollars in the court systems, in which nobody can really afford. So when we take $1 million from an area in which it's already financially struggling, someone had to sacrifice something. And I believe this is how the government is forcing us to go to that route over and over again by applying this, what I call the burden of proof. Prove to us that you are sovereign. Prove to us that you have Aboriginal treaty rights. And we somehow have succumbed to that. But I would dare challenge, let's reverse that. Let's put the onus back on the government to prove beyond reasonable doubt that they have a total sovereignty to our lands and to us. Because if we continuously being pressured in this way here, from 1968 to 1995, 98, look at how much money that had to be spent of trying to prove that our Aboriginal treaty rights were valid. So, and once we go there, then we're also going to make another pitch. We're also going to go back again to the provinces in which we're in. We're not asking you, we want to telling you. We want our languages official. We want our languages to be used in all institutions, but most importantly in the school systems. K1 to 12, 12 to the universities, and whatever. All our businesses should be conducted in Mi'kmaq. And we can actually use that to generate economic opportunities for, like for example her. She has such a wonderful control of the language. She can become an instant translator. We can share our versions, our stories in our language, and she can translate them. So anybody can, you can put on those things that you're wearing right now to hear me speaking in Mi'kmaq, but through her you would hear me in English. So here we can actually generate some economic opportunities if we were to go there. The other area I can see we can benefit from is that in the education system, for example, we know that our writing system is so efficient that, let's say, some professor or somebody wants you to write an essay, let's say 300 words or 900 words, whatever. If it's 300 words, well then we can do it in 150 words, yet maintain the integrity of that topic, of that subject. Because you don't have to use as many words. Because our language is verb-based, not noun-based. And the other thing is that I believe that it's interesting that in our language we had 5 tenses: past, present, future, and a healing tense. I'm not going to go into that, but in a spiritual tense. I believe if anyone is interested, that will take it upon themselves. I see this guy pulling my leg, or it's actually, there's tenses out there. And I'm sure they will find a ladder that there is such a thing as a healing tense. So anyway, that's, but again, I think it's not just incumbent upon us to somehow, if there are differences out there, put our differences aside and come together as one, because we need the younger ones to help us to move that, because we're in an era now in which some of our knowledges will not have the same impact or effect, and sometimes they have to be conveyed into another language, and that other language will be English. And a lot of our young people have not only adhered to, but they also have succeeded in excelling in this Eurocentric system, without them at any given time feel that they have compromised the essence of who they are, which is Mik'maq. But those are rare occurrences. There's only very few. There's one sitting right here. She can excel in this Eurocentric system, but yet maintain the spirit, that Mik'maq spirit that she has. So anyway, that's the English. That's not the English version, but that's another part of it. So anyway, but I think that's something that can and should be used of taking those words that I used there about naskogaik, manana desno, divide, nisia desno, divided we fall. Mawogaik, united, we're going to be strong. Because I think it's going to become incumbent upon us to come together somehow, even though our territory is quite huge, quite large, and traveling could become problematic, and it will become problematic. But do we not have something in which we can use to our advantages? And that's that damn technology. Where let's say there is whether it's Lestagwich, El Sabokto, Eskasoni, or wherever, that knowledge holder could be there. And what he or she is saying over there, everyone else within the territory can listen in, and they can also get involved. The only technology that I know is called Zoom, in which you can have that direct exchange. And that person could be in Timbuktu and everybody. Because even if somebody was to give us $1 zillion tomorrow and say, go for it, revive your culture, we could not do it because there's so few speakers left. To optimize and to maximize what we have, we need that damn technology. And the sooner that we get it, the sooner we can begin the task that is before us. And I hope someone will hear, somewhere my words will resonate. Somebody might just come running. How can I help? How can I help to bring this into reality? Because the longer we wait, the greater challenges we're going to have of trying to fulfill our objective. Because even as I speak, we're losing our elders, we're losing our knowledge holders. So, nigamadut ke mawidane, maulugudine, mawi abona marutine. Maus espedetlutin. Olalio.
Away, oh hey, away, oh hi, hey yo, away, oh hey, hey, away, oh hey, 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 away. hey, oh, hey, hey,